What's up, guys? Hello, and Merry Early Christmas to you all. This is going to be our Christmas video. I finally found something that we can do. What I'm going to have an idea of is we're going to make basically a Christmas tree. And since I got the new Arduino printer up and running, we're going to see if we can't 3D print out a Christmas tree, and then we're going to LED light it. So first off, we got to get the print going. So what I've done is from Thingiverse, I downloaded a tree that I have. So let's load that up. Holy heavens! Yeah, that's a little big. So let's scale that down. So let's see. Let's do at least half that size. There we go. That's a lot better. So there we go. Uniform scale all the way around. Half that size. That's going to fit perfectly on our Arduino printer. So kind of a cool psychedelic looking tree. I thought that was really cool. Almost looks like a stalagmite like in a cave. I don't know, it's kind of cool looking. But what I figured we'd do is we would probably take this and we would print it in a clear PLA plastic, and then we'll put some color change LEDs in the bottom of it and make it look really cool, make it really pop. Now, first thing I need to do is I guarantee that this has some webbing, on the inside, some fill. So what I want to do is I don't want it to be filled because I want the light to be able to refract properly. So I'm going to switch to my full settings. Yes, I want to import these. Except I want to take the fill density and I want to set that to 0. That'll also help on our time too. Probably bring it down, I don't know, maybe shave 30 minutes or so off of it. It brings it down to 5 hours. That's not too bad. So now to make sure that I don't have any overhangs or anything, I can take and go layers. And we can check out the layer structure and how it's going to work. So I'm going to take and zip down over here. I'm going to tilt this so I can see it. And I'm going to kind of zip down through here, and yeah, it looks pretty good zipping down through here, that it might be able to do this all without support. I believe you can do the X-ray option, if I remember right, and you can look around and it'll tell you if there's any overhangs or any weirdness going on. Or I'm sorry, overhang, not X-ray, overhang. There we go. And it basically puts in red like that. It'll show you if there's an overhang spot that needs support, and I'm not seeing one as I rotate it around here. So I think we're good. I think we can go ahead and put this on an SD card and throw it over to the Arduino. So I've got an SD card that came with the Arduino, and I just plugged it in. That's why this changed to toolpath to SD. We just click that and saved as tree facets. Okay. All right. So now what we're going to do is we're going to run over to the printer, and we'll get that set up. Okay, guys, you'll have to forgive the audio because I didn't have time to hook up my audio thing, whatever. I needed to get this print started, and I've got some stuff to run today, so forgive the audio, but it should be good enough for what we got. So I've got my SD card. I'm going to go ahead and put this in the wall now, so that way I can print it from here. It's another thing I really like about having the touch screen on this. You can you can print your stuff straight from the printer, and you don't have to have it tethered or anything. You don't have to build an Astro box or anything like that. It's all on board the printer. This thing rocks. Okay, so I'm going to take the camera and I'm going to zoom in on the screen and show you what I'm doing. Okay, guys, so now first things first, I need to load my clear filament in. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go into Tool, I believe. We're going to do filament. We're going to say load filament, and now it should heat up the extruder that's up top, and we will load that up. So as that's heating, let me see if I can back off. Let's see if we can go up a little bit. I'm going to try to move the camera without smacking into something. Okay, here we go. So there's the extruder. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of push it over here in the middle. And we're waiting for that. I'm watching that number. I've got 60 degrees C right now. So we'll just give that a few more seconds. It heats up really fast, actually. It's actually pretty quick. And what we'll do is on the Arduino up here, there's a lever. It's kind of like the printer bot in a way, except the extruder is kind of sideways, whereas the printer bot, it's dead on. It's actually sideways on this one. But you'll push down on this and feed your filament through the little hole that's in the top back up in here. So once this heats up, we're at 124 degrees C. We're going for 200. So we'll just give it a few more seconds. And yeah, I'll take these few seconds to talk about it. This has been a great print. I printed a bunch of stuff already. I've videotaped some of it. We'll probably put it up, but this thing prints amazingly. So much better than the printer bot. Thank you. One of my YouTubers actually recommended this machine to me, and I want to thank you personally. Thank you very, very much for recommending this, because this has been an absolute treat. It works straight dead out of the box. Everything that I printed so far has come out just pretty much flawless. So yeah, mad props. Thank you very much to my viewers for recommending that. Alright, so we're now to 200 degrees, so I'm going to start to feed it through. So, like I said, you press down on that, and then you feed it through. There it is. Sometimes it's hard with the plastic curls. It makes it hard to get it into the right slot. There it is, I got it. So you kind of got to straighten your plastic a little bit. And so now I'm kind of pushing it through till I see it come out the bottom of the extruder. Okay, so I'll show you here. Let me get my fingers out of the way. So you can see the plastic comes out. See, I don't know if you can see that, but plastic comes out, and it feeds it too. On this, it starts feeding it once it gets to temperature. So you put it in there. It's kind of an automatic thing. Of course, I just hold down on the little deal and let it just squirt the plastic out. So we're good. So I'm going to hit back so it'll stop extruding because it squirts plastic everywhere. But I was printing in black a little bit ago, and so let's go back down to the screen here. Zoom that down to there. So what I did was I pressed the back button on that. Let's go in. I pressed the back button on it. That's what I did. So now we're going to go back again because our extruder's all loaded up. Back. Now what we're going to do is pretty much we're going to start printing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back in here and I'm going to preheat for PLA and let it start heating back up. So now what it's going to do is I can watch my bed temperature, my extruder temperature, ET extruder temperature, bed temperature. And what it'll do is it'll heat all this up. In fact, I can feel it. I put my hand up on the bed just now, and it's getting warm. So bed temperature is set to 50 degrees. The extruder and everything is set to 185 degrees for preheat. It'll probably go on up. I can't remember what we set it for in the settings. It might be 200 degrees. But we'll let that heat up. Yeah, it's getting nice and warm and toasty now. I can feel the bed. So that will sit and that will preheat, and then all you got to do is print it. It's actually really simple. So what I'm going to do while this is preheating is I'm going to set up the other camera because I want to stop motion this for you guys. So I'll be setting up the other camera to do that. It looks like we're at 185. See, that's what I mean. It heats up really fast. We're at 44 degrees. We're almost to 50. So it's just, yeah, it works really, really, really well. So I'm going to stop the camera, set up my other camera, and then we will push go. Alright guys, I got the other camera set up. We're going to go ahead and back up here. Back up. We're going to go to print. Then we choose the tree from the SD card. And we hit go. And that's all there is to it. Alright, and we'll watch the movie of it printing. Okay guys, alright, so we got that printed. Boy, that came out nice. Oh my goodness. I love this printer. This printer is awesome. This Wanao printer. It's fantastic. That came out beautifully. And no fill inside because I don't want anything to cause problems with refraction. Now, what I did was I took and I melted a hole actually because I was afraid this is so thin. I don't know if you can hear that. I'll put it next to the microphone. But it's almost like a drum because this is so thin. I was afraid that if I ran a drill bit in there, it would just, and tear that all to pieces. So what I ended up doing is I ended up taking just a soldering iron and just shoving it through there to make a hole. And then that way, I could put one of these in. That's right. Let's see if I can get this battery in here. I could put, helps if I put it the right way, one of these. This is a tricolor LED, as you can see. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shove that in there, and then, let's see if I can get some lights turned off here. We will have where it can be any color.
How cool will that be? Awesome, all with the tricolor LED. So let's get some light back going again. Okay, here we go. So that's what we're going to be doing. Now we need to mount all this up. I'll probably use an Arduino to control the light. I know it's kind of overkill, but I got to work with what I've got. I don't have time to order stuff right now, so we're going to work with what we got. I've got one of these. I've just had it laying around. I had a couple of boxes. This is another one that I had laying around. That's kind of a split box thing. The only problem is it would probably work thin-wise, but it's got all these standoffs and whatnot inside, and I'd have to drill and cut around all that and everything. And I think it's going to be a mess to use this box right here. So what I'm going to end up doing is probably using this other one. It would probably be better if I had maybe an Altoids box, maybe. I don't know if I have any more of those. I don't know, anything like that. You use anything, but I kind of want it to be clean. What I'm going to do is I'm going to use this one. Now, the thing that sucks about this one's aluminum, but I have no other use for this. This is an aluminum and extruded one. You can actually slide boards in between those extrusions. But basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to build some standoffs in the bottom. It will hold the Arduino, okay? And then I'll butt this up against the end like this, okay? Drill a hole for the for this guy to plug in battery power. So we'll drill a hole for that. We'll drill some holes to mount this guy in. The three or four mounting holes that are in this, we'll mount that guy in. This will close up on top. Well, if I can get it to close. And then we can probably put, it's directional here. Then we'll cut a hole in the top of this. This will set on top of there. And voila! And we'll power it all with one of these, which is basically just a 9-volt battery. Has an on-off switch, which is fantastic. And then there's the plug. So that's probably how we'll power it. We may just take some tape or something and stick it to the front or stick it to the back of it or something so you can't see it. But anyway, and then it'll be like this, and that will be our Christmas tree. So first things first, we need to get to the garage and get some drilling done. So first thing we need to do is mark the holes out. So what I'm going to do for that is I'm going to grab a pencil, because since we're dealing with black, or actually I've got a scribe. Give me a second. We might be able to scratch this. See if we can scratch it with a real thin screwdriver. We might be able to do that. Take this and put this in here, butt it up against. I might be able to just scratch the ano off. Boy, holding this still while doing this is quite difficult. Yeah, I think I can see that. All right. Now, this one's going to be tricky, because I can't really see the hole. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure as best I can. I mean, this is just going to have to eyeball this, because I'm eyeballing this all in. Oh, there's a little bit of stringing here. I'm going to measure from the side here. I'm going to burn an inch, so I have a perfect minute. So it's going to be about it's about 2 inches, really. About 2 inches from one of those side things, isn't it? Yeah, just about. If I burn an inch this way from the side, about 2 inches in. So it's about 2 inches in. It's about right there. And I'm going to say that was 2 inches. This right here is probably about, now it's about an inch in. So bring that and go up a little bit. So it's going to be somewhere around in here. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably cut a slot. I'll probably, cut like a square. Or just drill a really big hole. So I may just drill a small pilot hole to start with, and then drill a really big hole. And then that way that'll go through. So the idea will be this will shove into the bottom. I'll probably hit that with a little bit of hot snot. Probably hot glue that in. And then that will pass through there and set on top, which we may use some sort of adhesive tape or something, maybe some double stick tape or something to get that to go through and stay. And then we'll solder that all up and plug it into here, solder some wire leads onto this and get it all plugged into here. is what I believe we will go for. So let's get this and this all drilled and cut out, and we'll be right back. Whoo, well guys, it is cold in my garage. Holy crap. Woo, it's cold. So, you know what we're going to do? Oh yes, master heater. This thing is so old, but tried and true. Check this puppy out. Master 150,000 BTUs. Yeah, this will flat warm you up. Holy Jiminy. All right, here we go. All right, let me turn it on. And contact. Woohoo! Oh yeah! It is warm now! Yeah! I'm going to go ahead and shut the camera off, get things set up, let this warm up because we're not going to be listening to all this loud nonsense. So I'll let it warm up in here. We'll set up the camera, we'll drill those holes out. Be back in a flash. Alright guys, that's a lot quieter. I apologize for the audio because I'm not using my lavalier mic because of the, there's the problems with it. So anyway, alright, so what we're going to do is we are going to take this and we're going to drill some holes in it. So I've got my drill bit all set up. I'm going to make this a little bit taller, get a little bit closer to the material that we're going to be working with. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to punch these or they will work. So I got to run over here just for a split second. Grab one of the coolest tools in the shop, and that is the Auto Punch. This thing is great. It's a few bucks, good old Harbor Far Right. We're going to take and so we drill good holes. It's going to give us basically like a nail or like a punch set is what it does. If you notice, I don't know if you can see that, but it basically puts sets so the drill bit won't walk on you. Fantastic device. I love it. I use it quite a bit. When I saw it at Harbor Freight for only like a few bucks, I was like, must have. All right, let's get some drilling going on, shall we? So here we go. Let's kick her on. Get my first one. Ah, yes, good old aluminum. All right. And that's another thing. Aluminum curls on you. Be very careful. These are very sharp. But there is numero uno. Let's go to the next one. And I can even see it. That's another thing. I'm holding on to this. I probably isn't smart. I'm sure every machinist is probably watching this going, ah! But, you know, I take unnecessary risks. I really do. Really, should probably be clamping this or something to hold it in place whilst you drill it. Probably would be safer so it doesn't go flying out of your hands and hurt you, but, you know. I'm trying to go quickly because I've got other things to do today, which I know. Don't do what I do what I say, right? Don't you hate it when people say that? It's just maddening. All right, where's my other side? There it is. All right, here we go. Let's get the other one. This is number 4. All right, number 4 is done. So that is through. That off of there. All right, so we got our holes drilled in that. I'm going to go ahead and while I've got this same drill bit in, we might as well drill the top part to at least start the hole that we're going to be using. Now this one, once I drill the hole, once I go bigger, I will clamp this one because this one's going to it'll probably get away from me if I don't clamp it. So what we're going to do is we're going to lower this down now. And we'll bust a good old C-clamp. And we're just going to clamp this guy right in place. Let's get him up in there. And we're going to give him a little squeeze. There we go. Got some more clamps probably just to make absolute sure it doesn't run away from me, we're going to make sure and clamp this guy good. Oops, let me get the other side here. Let's go the other way. That's probably easier. There we go. We're going to clamp this guy good so he can't run away from me. Now, I'm going to change out the bit, and we're going to go quite a bit bigger. I'm going to work my way up to about 1/2 inch. I think a 1/2 inch hole will be just fine for it. So we're going to go with this next size up. Alrighty. So, see if I got it anywhere close to in the right spot. Yep, there we go. Okay. Reel that up a little bit. Get her closer to the work. Alright, let's fire it up. Huh, you want to know something funny? My clamp is in the perfect position to hit the power button to where I can't turn the power on and drill it at the same time. So let's reposition that. Alright, here we go. Clamp this down. And plunge, well, sort of. Plunge. In we go. We're in like sin. Alright, there we go. You're ready. Come back down. We're going to go a little bit bigger. So let me get the chuck key. Undo that. Grab me the biggin, the boss. Ooh, got to go down further. This is the boss, let me tell you. Sucker's a 1/2 inch twist drill, baby. So let's fire this up. Put that into there. Crank that sucker down. I don't think we're going to have a lot of slippage, but you know, you never know. Hate it when you have slippage. Don't you hate that? So let's clamp that all down. Fire this baby up. Make sure our clamps are good and tight. Ooh, that one's kind of loose. Alright, plunge time. Oop, almost, hold on. I'm a little off. A little off kilter. Bad if you're off kilter. It's a bad deal. Alright, here we go. In we go. And contact! Oh, yeah. Ah, yes. Ah, there we go. Beautiful. Now, speaking of beautiful, we're going to release this. Put the clamps back up here for a second. I can get them to go back up where they're supposed to go. Okay. Take this guy loose. Alright. So, now what we have is this nasty, knurled, awful looking hole. Look at that. That's just horrible. Not very conducive for electronics. So what we're going to do is we have what is called countersink. And with a countersink, you can make beautiful holes. So that's this crazy looking bit. Okay. So what we do is we take this and chuck this bad boy up. It looks scarier than what it actually is. Alright, so we got that all chucked up. Now we're going to release this so we can go back up. Get up here where we can work on it here. And all we're going to do is we're not drilling a hole with this, we're just cleaning up the hole with it. So what I'm going to do, very gently, I'm just going to run it down into the hole until it starts to bite. And that's about it. It perfectly deburrs all the burrs that are on this thing. So I just run it down into here, very gently. Puts a very nice chamfer on that there hole. See, look at that now. Now that looks a lot better. So that's what we're going to do along with these guys, except this guy is massive. So we're not going to use that on these. What we're going to use, excuse me, I'm going to come in front of the camera. All right, is we're going to use a deburring tool. A deburring tool is one of these guys, okay? It is one of the coolest little tools in the world. It's got basically this same tip, but a lot smaller. See that? So what we do is we place it in the hole. See if I can show you like that. And then you just twist it. You got to make that sound too. Okay, and then all right, and like I said, you have to make the sound. The sound is key. There we go. Blow on it. Get it out of there. Perfect. Now those look nice and the deburred. Alrighty, so we got our holes drilled. Now, back to the bench. Okay, guys, we're back inside on the lab bench. So now that we have this, we'll check it. Oh, that looks nice. I can see right through all the holes and everything. Perfect. So now we can mount our standoffs. To do that, got me a standoff kit. So here we go. I believe these holes are in places where it's not going to hurt anything. Yeah, I think we're good. I'm going to use these little like coupler ones because I'm going to have to put screws on both sides, which I guess is fine. So I'm going to need a ton of these little screws. I'm going to try to dig them out. I need like 8 of them. Good heavens. There's so many. So many. Okay, so there's 4 and 4. That makes 8. All right, perfect. And then we need 4 of the little couplers. All right, I'm going to get those hell out of there. 2, 3, 4. All right, so I need a screwdriver. Magnificent. And let's go ahead and assemble. Okay guys, so now I've got her pretty much wired up. I just soldered some wires on, shrink wrapped them all, and then plugged a header in and plugged all 3 into ports 13, 12, and 11 for the LEDs. And this, by the way it works, you give the common anode 5 volts and then you ground each cathode, and then that's how you get the 3 different lights. So that's what I'm going to do with these. I'll be giving zeros to these to turn the 3 different lights on, and we'll write a program. So that'll be next. So now I just need to, I took some double stick tape and stuck the Christmas tree to the top. So now all we have to do is we're going to close it up, set it up here, and we'll put some screws in it. See if we can't button this sucker up. More or less, we'll take the, I won't put screws on the other side because I'm going to take that plate off and put the whatever it is, put the programming to program it, because I did not cut out a hole for the programming slot, basically the mini USB or micro USB. I did not cut that out. So yeah, there you go. And I had already drilled the hole for the power for it, because I haven't done the I forgot to do that in the last video, or in the last time when I was in the garage, so I just did that real quick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this end cap off. So we'll just unscrew this guy, and then we'll hook it up for programming, and we'll run over to the PC and write some software for it real fast. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get this undone. All right, those screws over there. Let that end cap come off. We'll go ahead and hook up our USB, and we'll run over the computer. Okay guys, so we've got this all set up for y'all. So what we're going to do is going to run through this really fast. All right, so I've got pins 13, 11, and 10 because those are PWM pins. So you have to have the PWM pins. That's the ones that have the little tilde next to the number. So the ones that were on my Leonardo were pins 13, 11, and 10. So now we're going to set our brightness amounts. So we've got our brightness, we're initializing that to 0. That's basically going to be how much we PWM it. Our PWM is on an analog output, so it can go from 0 to 255. So 255 being full bright and 0 being absolutely dark. So we set it to 0 initially. Then we're going to come down and our fade amount. I played with 5. 5 looks pretty good. Is basically how much it's going to turn the brightness up as it's looping. So 5 is pretty good. And then I've initialized a counter variable. I guess I better label this so I know when to switch counter variable to switch color. Since this is a tricolor, I'm going to switch the color on it. So anyway, here's our setup routines. We're going to set up pins 13, 11, and 10 to output. I'm labeled them red, green, and blue. We're going to set them all high, which basically turns them off. It's inverse logic because the way the LED works, you give a hot to, it's got a common anode instead of common cathode. It's common anode, and so the anode you give 5 volts and then you hit each cathode with 0, and that's what causes it to work. So if we hit each cathode with a high, it's going to not turn on. So that way we've got it completely black, everything's shut off, and we've initialized. So now we're going to come down here and we're going to go enter our switch case. We're going to check this variable called count, which I'll show you here later. You'll see what it's used for. Basically, it's going to keep track of how we're coloring it. So case 0 is basically going to be red. We're going to send red at whatever brightness level it's at, and we're going to make sure the other two, green and blue, are off. Similarly, if it's 1, it's going to be green, red and blue are off, blue is on, red and green are off, and by default, just in case for some reason something veers off and goes wacky and this count gets greater than 4, or maybe goes negative or does something weird, the default case, it'll always go to green. I just randomly picked one. I picked green. So you can make it always default to red, however you want it to work. And that's how you do your switch case. We're going to come down here, and here's the brains of the operation. Basically, what we're doing is we're setting our brightness here. We're saying brightness plus whatever fade amount it's going to be. So now, initially, the fade amount is going to be 5. So every time this loops, we're going to be adding 5 to it. So it's going to go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and keep going all the way to 255. Now, here's the key. Once we reach 255, this if is going to kick in. We're going to say if the brightness is less than or equal to 0, or is it greater than or equal to 255. Well, eventually you're going to reach 260. Once you reach 260, this is going to trigger. It's going to come in here, take the fade amount. Now, this kind of warped my brain when I first looked at it. But what it's going to do is it's going to say it's going to take fade amount, and it's basically going to invert it. Fade amount was set, that was our 5, our interval that we're amounting by. So what it's going to do is it's going to take that positive 5 that was set up here, this positive 5, and when it does sets it negative of it, it's going to basically set this fade amount to negative 5. Now the fade amount is negative 5, so every time we loop through, we're adding a negative 5 to our brightness. So if our brightness is at 256, when it hits this, we're going to start subtracting 5, or I mean, 260. When it hits this, then we'll start going 255, 250, 245, 240, 235, 230. We're going to start going down, okay? So that's when our count kicks in. We're going to check and see, when does this fade amount flip? When does it become negative? When it becomes negative, that's when we want to change colors, okay? So basically on the downhill stroke, at least that's the way I did it. I wanted it to change colors when it was dark. So it would be blue, and then it would dim down to darkness, and then it would shift colors to green, let's say. And then it would brighten up the green, and then it would take it back down. And so I wanted it when it was less than 0, basically on the downhill stroke, that's when I want to change colors, okay? And then I put one last if to reset the counter, just in case once it gets greater than 4, oops, I just screwed that all up. Once it gets greater than or equal to 4, because we only have 3 colors, so we got 0, 1, 2, and 3. Actually, I need to make that 3. I wasn't thinking right. I was thinking 0 based. 1 based. So since I'm 0 based, since I go 0, 1, 2, and 0, 1, and 2, essentially, if it's greater than or equal to 3, then I want it to reset. Basically, if it goes over to 3, then it's going to have to reset this back to 0. And that's basically how it runs. It's pretty simple. I'm going to go ahead and upload this sketch, launch it to my device, make sure it's working, look at it behind me, and I'll end this video. We'll shift gears back to the bench, and we should be able to see it doing its thing. Yeah, I believe it's working. It's working great now. I'm looking at it now. So let's go ahead and shift gears and move the camera, and we'll go back to the bench for one final look at our project. All right, guys, there she is. Color changing and everything. So there it is. All right, well, guys, there's our one of our Christmas trees. We actually have 2 with all the presents. It makes quite a nice little addition. You set it off to the side here. That looks quite nice, a little Christmas tree. So guys, Merry Christmas. I'd like to thank y'all for watching another wonderful year of YouTube videos. Sorry that I've kind of been sparse. I've gotten involved in so many things. It's just been crazy. But tell you what, guys, it's nice to slow down and start doing some 3D printing again and starting to do some videos for you guys. Take care, guys. I love you guys very much. I hope that you have a wonderful and fantastic Christmas, wonderful New Year, and everything else, guys. Merry Christmas, and we will see you next time.